Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Engineering and Technology, SOET, Diploma Postgraduate Diploma Programs, Postgraduate Certificate in Inventory Planning and Warehousing System for Engineers, PGCIPWS, MWR 03 Warehousing System, Block-1 Warehousing System Design and Operations, Unit-1 Introduction to Warehousing. 1.1 Introduction. Warehouse is a place where the stock is housed. Simply, it is the house of materials, or it is analogous to the rented accommodation or a guest house for the material in their journey along the movement of its supply chain. Obviously, the traveler as well as the transporter and materials manager would be very happy if there are no hurdle, no roadblocks, no bottlenecks and no burdens throughout the journey tenure. Therefore, it is important to know issues and problems involved warehousing since it is a critical stage supply chain objectives. After studying this unit, you should be able to understand the need for warehousing, explain how to derive advantages by stocking, describe various classifications of warehousing, illustrate the objectives and principles of warehousing, explain different methods of warehousing, list out features and activities in warehouse, describe functions of warehouse management system WMS and its integration. 1 point need for warehousing. Warehouse in the past were constantly referred to as cost centers and also under the notion that they rarely add value. But there has seen a step change in warehouse operations owing to the movement of production into developing countries where cost of production is low, and the growth of e-commerce and at the same time increasing demands from consumers. Warehouses are now articulated as a vital links within supply chains. Materials flow is like blood of any organization, especially for a production system. Warehouse may be considered as the heart of the organization for the smooth running of the production line. A proper warehousing management makes the organization healthy and thence wealthy. Because about 60 to 70% of investment in the form of working capital is contributed by materials in any industry, having minimum flow of materials constantly in the pipeline of the supply chain is a rare of rarest event. It is most unfortunate that the society and markets are not predictable most of the times, and so the organizations need to hold stock at various stages within their supply chains. Raising consumer demands with widened ranges in customers' choices has resulted in a proliferation of product ranges and sizes leading to unprecedented demands on storage capacity. 1.2.1 Reasons for storage. Stocking is advantageous. In addition to the above, there are several reasons to hold the stocks. So, let us now have a look at the reasons for holding stock by which the companies can derive some benefit. The necessity for warehousing. 1. Uncertain and erratic demand patterns. The products such as ice cream, umbrellas often suffer erratic demand patterns based on the changeability of the weather. To sustain under such most uncertain and erratic demand patterns, holding stock of raw material can only be the right alternative. 2. Transport and shipping costs. For larger shipments, it is common practice in the market that the business transactions of larger quantities are associated with cost reduction. So, the ability to move product in large quantities obviously tends to lower unit cost. Thus, the trade-off here counts on the cost of storing additional units against the higher cost of transport for smaller deliveries. If the transport cost is quite attractive, then additional storage space will be needed. Of course, there also has to be a strong confidence that all the items purchased will be sold, in the case of retail warehouse, or all the items stored will be consumed, in the case of production warehouse. 3. Discounts on bulk purchase. The reduction of unit price by purchasing in larger quantities is always an attractive proposition for buyers. So, this requires an additional warehousing space capacity. This bulk buying can, however, have overall negative impact if the company fails to consume all of the additional units bought or constrained to sell at a loss to clear the warehouse. On the other hand, the situation raises costs due to additional storage and handling, obsolescence, damages, working capital interest, possible discounted sales, and disposal. A trade-off exists between lowered costs of purchase versus increased costs of storage. In such situation, it is important that the whole life cost of the item is computed before the taking decision to purchase extra quantities. Whatsoever the decision taken, the materials require a good warehousing facility. 4. Price fluctuation, raw materials and finished goods. In some cases, it may be for raw material, or in other cases it could be for finished product, whatsoever. For certain products, price fluctuates significantly and can also be affected by weather conditions. Companies therefore are forced to purchase significant quantities when the price is advantageous or when weather conditions dictate. This will necessitate additional storage capacity. Hence, ultimate need is warehouse facility. 5. Manufacturer's distance from supplier and end user. In majority of the cases, the manufacturing unit will be either far away from the raw materials or from outlets or from both. In any case, the manufacturer needs to store the materials and thence requiring a warehousing facility. The distance that the raw material or finished stock needs to travel is a factor too. Determine the lead time, which in turn becomes deciding input for determining warehousing and warehouse capacity at manufacturer's location. The trade-off here is between more expensive local suppliers and producers and increased costs in transport and inventory holding costs. 6. Protection from production shutdowns. For example, on a given day, suppose that you have planned to clean your overhead tank. So, for the period of time during which water is not available, you need to stock some water in advance. This creates the need for storage. Similarly, many manufacturing companies inevitably shut down their operations for vacations, machine maintenance, stockouts, and stock counts. As a result, retailers and wholesalers need to pile up stock prior to the shutdown period to ensure stock availability for their customers. Manufacturers will also pile up a stock of components to ensure that their production lines are not brought to a standstill as a result of supplier shutdowns. 7. Ability to increase production runs, alterations or adjustments in production lines in order to accommodate changes in models, color, design features, etc., and is often expensive. The longer the production run is, the lower is the cost per unit to produce. Thus, production runs might go longer sometimes. This raises the need for storage to safeguard the smooth flow in the supply chain during the elongated period in the production run. 8. Manage seasonal production. Some items can be produced in certain season, while its consumption may be continuous throughout the year, e.g. food grains, grocery items. Similarly, certain items are produced year-long, but will have a huge demand in certain seasons such as crackers, umbrellas, sweaters, etc. In the first case, the storage is required to use throughout the year, while in the second case, the stocks have to be piled up to meet the demand. In either case, there is dire necessity to store the material and balance the supply and demand. 1.2 to situations demanding storage, stocking is inevitable. The following are some more reasons for warehousing. These causes make the stocking inevitable irrespective of the outcome of storage, whether it is advantage or disadvantage. 9. High seasonality. Seasonality need not always be a period of time such as summer or winter, but also may be a specific date in the calendar such as Valentine's Day, Independence Day, Diwali, Ramzan, or Christmas, or a New Year Day. The stocks are built up to meet the expected peak demand and so need the storage space. 10. Spare parts storage or maintenance stores. To make sure of an uninterrupted production line, manufacturer needs stocking the spares and maintenance items, and so also in case an item becomes defective. However, these items are not reviewed regularly but the decision is taken to stock them. The decision to stock the parts and in what quantities could be generally managed by the supplier under a vendor managed inventory (VMI) agreement. The supplier lead time and machine failure rate are also the factors to be considered. 11. Work in process storage. Many companies would part build products in anticipation of orders. This needs a storage space again. This enables them to complete the process at a later date as and when needed. 12. Investment stocks. A number of products can increase in value the longer they are held in storage. For example, fine wines and spirits, cigars, precious metals and stones, antiques and fine art. So these need storage. 13. Document storage. Both public and private companies have an obligation to preserve their documents for a period of time. These can include correspondence, invoices, accounts, etc. by the virtue of the legal requirements. In some other cases, this storage is demanded as evidence storage in police stations, courts, insurance, and patient records, in hospitals, pathological laboratories. 14. Maturation and ripening. Certain products need longer-term storage to improve the quality or the maturity or ripening of the product. Examples include fruits, certain meats, and cheeses. 15. Consignment stock. Sometimes manufacturers will utilize their customers' warehouse to store their goods or vice versa. This is called consignment stock. Here, the customer only pays for the stock once it has been used or consumed. This takes pressure off the supplier to hold more stock. Further, it ensures delivery on time while the customer has available stock within the warehouse but has yet to pay for it, thus increasing flexibility and improving cash flow. 1.3 Objectives of warehousing. In a company's supply chain, warehouse is one of the most important places. It is the connecting junction point between the supplier and the company as well as between the company and the customer in the market. Its connecting activities are related to the correct storage, protection, and conservation of goods in an installation for the required period of time. It also involves the management, monitoring, transportation, location, handling, and conditioning of this materials right from receipt to dispatch. Thus, the warehouse is the key area that enables the organization to regulate the flow of goods between supply and demand. It is treated as the heart of the company if the materials are comparable to blood, where this heart pumps the materials to keep business live, while stores and handles materials to respond to commercial and production needs. The ultimate goal of warehouse is to minimize operating costs while maintaining quality service. It aims to achieve the optimal blend of the following actions. Objectives: maximize the use of storage space. Leverage handling equipment. Preserve the integrity of the goods. Ensure optimal organization of the workforce. Guarantee access to goods as and when needed. Maintain the security measures necessary. Warehouse managers strive in every area of the warehouse and its logistics to meet the aforesaid objectives. 1.4 Principles of warehousing. Warehouse management is commonly associated with 6 basic principles. These are I. Accuracy, 2. Cost control, 3. Efficiency, 4. Cleanliness, V. Safety, and 6. Security. The underlying processes are complex and dynamic, presenting major activities for warehouse managers across industries. Warehousing logistics, areas of work. The first and foremost point of warehousing logistics is the installation. The main activities carried out here are the receipt, storage, preparation, and dispatch of goods. For all these operations to be performed effectively, each of the aspects connected with the above activities need to be optimized. 1.5 Key functions of warehousing. Following are the key functions of a warehouse which are to be understood and taken care of for efficient warehouse management. I. Warehouse layout design. At the outset, for designing an installation and thence achieving optimal warehouse logistics management, it should have a good layout. The strategy for preparing a good layout depends on two decisive situations. 1. Whether creating a new facility, or 2. Whether reconfiguring an already running warehouse. This design will in turn to be conditioned by several major factors assisted below: volume to be stored, characteristics of the products, in-warehouse stock turnover, material flows, storage space available, site limitations, makeup, organization and qualifications of the work team. Corporate management system followed. Features of warehouse management system. In addition to the above, for renovating the current layout, we need to check the storage systems and the existing flow patterns, handling equipment already available, extent of possibility to automation and modernization. Without any iota of doubt, the layout design must always start with an exhaustive analysis of the company's needs. As a baseline for warehousing logistics, the approach should have a vision with a long-term view, anticipating possibilities for growth that the installation might have. Layout of a zoned warehouse with storage, picking and cantilever racking areas, scope for automation, and so forth. 2. Handling equipment storage systems. Materials management encompasses the set of operations involved in the operations such as preparing, locating, moving, and storing. The above functions form the essential part of warehouse management. Goods, storage and handling resulting from the interactions among operators. Machines, storage devices and working methods in moving, storing and controlling materials become important aspects in warehouse management. Thus, it is important to understand and manage two kinds of equipment and their system. A. Storage equipment. B. Handling equipment. A. Storage equipment. There's a huge variety of industrial racks for warehouse available for both pallets and boxes. The selection of storage system depends on the following criteria: type of product, unit load, target storage capacity, desired agility of operations, costs, finance available. Before the selection, it's advisable to discuss the possibilities offered by each option with the supplier. The supplier's technical warehouse manuals can provide the specifications and required knowledge for this selection. They may even demonstrate to b. Handling equipment. The amount and type of handling equipment determine the throughput of the installation. It is also deciding factor for the number of operators needed for its efficient functioning. Further, these machines may also influence the layout and its distribution. For example, the height they reach or the width of the aisles in which they operate. Handling equipment is divided into manual equipment. These are operated and controlled by the operators manually or with human-operated motors and/or engines. E.g., traditional forklifts, order pickers, and pallet trucks. Automated equipment. These refer to automatic machines run by control software in direct communication with warehouse management software, e.g. stacker, cranes, conveyors, electrified monorails, and transfer cars. 3. Picking and order preparation. Picking processes have a considerable impact on certain warehouse logistics strategies. These include the movement and extraction of products from the racks as well as order sorting, consolidation, packing, and dispatch. The organization of picking has significant role to play on the work and working method in warehouse and its logistics. There are several methodologies. Depending on the following factors: height of the racks from which products are picked, floor and its level, low, medium and/or high, direction of goods movements, whether the operator goes to the goods or the goods are brought to the operator via automatic systems. Picking method used: discrete, order by order, batch, zone, and/or pick-to-cart picking. To find the most effective picking method for the installation, it is required to analyze in-depth warehouse's activity and the need in terms of handling costs, number of orders processed per day per time unit. 4. Stock and inventory management. Within warehousing, stock management is yet another important task with regulating and optimizing stock levels in the installation. Nowadays, this activity is done by computers using computer programs that accurately track inventory movements. This is carried out with the following tools: data reading and transmission devices, radio frequency terminals, and other systems, such as voice picking and Pictolite, serve as the link between the computer system and the physical world. Warehouse Management System. This software organizes all operations in the installation, together with company's ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, the common database housed in it. WMS can optimize location assignments, picking operation arrangements, movements, and so on. They also guarantee real-time inventory and assist with all documentable management tasks. It's possible to set up traceability feature also with the computer systems. This can identify and locate the various stages a product undergoes throughout the warehouse and, thence, provides with comprehensive control over material flows, warehouse safety and security. In the day-to-day management on an installation, both the logistics staff and merchandise in stock are exposed to a series of risks. Hence, the aspect of safety cannot be ignored in warehousing logistics. It should be addressed in 3 dimensions. A. Prevention of occupational risks for operators. Works in installations often would have repetitive movements, manual load handling, long periods of standing or holding, etc. A weary operator tends to make more mistakes and be less productive. So, it's definitely advisable to perform a job safety analysis, JSA, and provide workers with tools and automatic systems which can help them in accomplishing their tasks more comfortably, effectively, and ergonomically. B. Good security systems. There is a potential for damage for goods as well as harm to operators for the following 2 common reasons: by the nature of the stock itself and/or by misuse of automatic systems or manual handling equipment. Therefore, it's advisable to post signage throughout the warehouse, establish traffic rules, and draw up good practices for operating equipment. C. Maintenance. For safety reasons, it's essentially important to carry out proper servicing and maintenance of the installations and devices. Thus, a mandatory technical inspection of the racks must be planned and conducted periodically, strictly with a definite predetermined schedule. The management should understand the importance of preventive maintenance. Technical inspections are essential for safe warehousing. Logistics. 1.6 Classification of warehousing. There are many different roles for a warehouse to play in the supply chain. Warehouse can be classified in several ways based on the role that they play. A. Types of warehouse based on size and volume. Depending on the size and volume, warehouse may be classified as warehouse, godown, stock home, stockyard, stores, main stores, substores, and mini-store, storage dockyard. Note, since these are self-explanatory, these not elaborated here. B. Types of warehouse based on materials stored. The warehouse can be categorized based on the person who operates the warehouse, such as owner-operated warehouse, subcontracted warehouse, third-party logistics providers. Note, these are also not elaborated here as they are self-explanatory. C. Types of warehouse based on materials stored. Based on the place, stage, and purpose of storage, the warehouse exists in following types. I. Raw material storage. 2. Temporary or intermediary storage. A. Intermediate storage. B. Customization materials. C. Substore within production line. D. Postponement storing. E. Subassembly facilities. 3. Finished goods storage. At manufacturer, wholesaler, dealer, stockist, retailer. 4. Consolidation sequencing centers and transit warehouse. Transshipment or break bulk centers. 6. Cross-dock centers. 7. Sorting centers. 8. Fulfillment centers. 9. Reverse logistics centers. Smiley Public Sector Warehousing. A detailed discussion about these warehouses made below. I. Raw material storage. Storage of raw materials is essential in order to ensure continuous production flow. These warehouses of raw materials and components will be usually situated either in the proximity of the point of extraction, supplier, or near to manufacturing point, user, or both. These materials include plastics, metals, sand, aggregates, and other food ingredients, and so forth. Food grains are also stocked in godowns. They may also be purchased by some companies in advance to guarantee supply in the event of poor weather conditions and possible conflict. Storage facilities can include buildings, tanks, hoppers, and also open spaces. 2. Temporary or intermediary storage. These warehouses exist with any of the following objectives or intent purpose. A. Intermediate storage. B. Customization materials. C. Substore within production line. D. Postponement storing. E. Subassembly facilities. These are used to store products temporarily at different stages in production. In some cases, these centers are also maintained to customize products before final delivery to the customer. The substores within the production line are very normal and regular practices in the manufacturing units. These stores even function as the decoupling, inventory, and safeguard the continuity of production during the events of failures or breakdown or slowdowns of the machines. Yet another reason for maintaining such intermediary stores is for postponement and/or subassembly activities. The examples include specific packaging or labeling being changed or added, e.g. for storage items or printing in different languages, computer assembly to include different graphics cards, memory chips, software, etc., product bundling for promotional activity, country-specific items being added such as electrical plugs, and special messages being added, e.g. stenciling of greetings messages on mobile phones. 3. Finished goods storage. These warehouse store products that are ready for sale. They would be generally managed by manufacturers, wholesalers, and retailers. This warehouse provides a buffer or safety stock for companies, enabling them to build up stock in preparation for new product launches, expected increases in demand, and to deal with seasonality. 4. Consolidation sequencing centers and transit warehouse. The consolidation centers, as name suggests, receive products from different sources and consolidate them for onward delivery to the customer or onto a production line. This also includes just-in-time centers, like automotive parts, are delivered to a warehouse which are brought together and sequenced for delivery onto the production line. The consolidation may also be on retail stock. The items from different suppliers are consolidated for onward delivery to the stores. These differ from cross-dock centers where products can remain in the center for a period of time, awaiting call-off from the final destination. Most of the consolidation centers are operated by third parties. 5. Transshipment or break bulk centers. Transshipment centers receive products in large quantities from suppliers and break them down into manageable quantities for onward delivery to various locations. 6. Cross-dock centers. Cross-dock centers look at the future of warehousing. These are operated for efficient and quick response toward customer within retail as a part of supply chain. Datex Corporation identified 4 main cross-docking situations used most frequently for the items with stable and strongly consistent demand. Such items are scheduled cross-docking for recurring fulfillment. This avoids the need for surplus inventory to be stored to encounter stock-out situations. For handling time-sensitive and perishable inventory, due to the reduced shelf life, it is essential that inventory should reach retailers within a reasonable remaining shelf life. This situation demands cross-docking and can provide the goods with a larger sales window for specific inventory item having unexpected need. Since customers cannot expect a specific item to be in stock, it is store managers' responsibility to use cross-docking to quickly deliver shipments of such inventory from suppliers' chains. In this case, out-of-stock scenarios are not a problem and no necessity of surplus stocking for fulfilling orders for which customers are willing to wait. In the case some high-cost or bulky items such as appliances, apparels, automobiles, and furniture, etc., customers would wait if there is an expected a short period delivery. Instead of storing such large items in store or at a distribution center, retailers can efficiently fulfill orders from a single facility using cross-docking to help reduce the delivery period. Though companies are realizing the efficiency of cross-docking, there are a number of barriers to a successful implementation. The challenging issues ND problems are often associated with warehouse management systems support, quality control systems, reliability of the product, and logistics cooperation of suppliers and carriers, perishability, shelf life and expiry date, warehouse design and connectivity, and uncertain demand. Cross-dock warehouse or transshipment centers are used in outlying and connectivity among geographic areas to transfer products. This process may occur either inside or outside the warehouse. Cross-docking items would most generally remain in the warehouse for a short time. More specifically, some perishable cross-dock products like fruits and vegetables, flowers, meat and fish, etc. need to be moved as quickly as possible through the supply chains. Motorola's recent study showed that in 2013, about 30% of companies using cross-docking, while it increased to above 45% by 2018. 7. Sorting centers. Sorting centers are found often with letter, parcel and pallet distribution companies and so forth. Well-packed goods or parcels are collected from all parts of the country, delivered to sorting centers, where they are sorted by zip code or postal code. After consolidation, they are delivered overnight to the respective distribution areas for onward delivery. In present days, with the growth in e-commerce, the online marketers are by and large practicing these sorting centers and the associated operations. Even today's retailers are also moving towards automated sorting centers. 8. Fulfillment centers. The growth of e-retailing has seen an enormous increase in the recent past, particularly in increasing the number of customer fulfillment centers. These warehouses have been designed and equipped specifically to manage large volumes of small orders. These centers can also double up as returns processing centers, as e-commerce has a possibility of returns activities too. 9. Reverse logistics centers. The reverse logistics are associated with the returning product to stock or disposing of it. In the recent days, companies have been increasingly recognizing importance of reverse logistics since they have a positive impact on the cash flows. This encouraged the establishing of several warehouses to deal with returned items. Most generally, the third-party contractors are providing this service to retailers while the customers return unwanted or defective items to the reverse logistics stores, where these items are consolidated and sent to the returns center. Then these are checked and either repackaged, repaired, recycled or disposed of depending their conditions. The growth of e-retailing and specific environmental legislation such as the European Union's Waste Electrical and Electronic Equipment (WEE) Directive 2007 has compelled companies to focus time and energy on reverse logistics. Waste legislation has also resulted in large quantities of returned packaging having to be disposed of in an environmentally friendly manner. This includes sorting by type and use as fuel or recycled material. There are case studies in the environmental section that go into more detail on this subject. Smiley public sector warehousing. Other than the commercial world, there are several places where warehouse operations will be essentially important to achieving their main objectives. These organizations include the public sector, charity organizations, armed and navy forces, schools, colleges, universities, and various government offices, and so on. The preparedness, planning and mitigation for natural disasters such as earthquakes, droughts and tsunamis require suitable warehouse operations on strategic locations across the globe. Public sector warehouse for local government facilities such as schools and offices include stationery, uniforms, furniture, computer hardware and software, etc. All the warehouse operations will be either owned or leased, usually under the control of head of the institution like principal, for a school or college. Other most common public warehouse found in the markets are operated by third-party logistics providers. These are either dedicated operations on behalf of a single customer or can be shared user or public warehouse where a number of different customers share resources. These users are accommodated under one roof. The concept of malls hypermarkets. Such public warehouse may be found in any of the following situations. Companies with different products, but with common customers such as retailers or automotive manufacturers, companies with the same or similar products delivering to common customers, e.g. tire, bicycle manufacturers, pharmaceutical companies, and consumer goods companies, companies needing similar types of service. Egg fulfillment or returns processing, and companies requiring the same environmental conditions, egg hazardous goods, explosives or temperature controlled. 1.7 Methods of warehousing. Types of warehouse based on structure and shelving method. There is a wide range of warehouse storage systems available. Looking at the future, warehouse storage systems are getting more lightweight, affordable, and technologically advanced. Therefore, it is not wise to run after a system that doesn't fit the organization's needs. Instead, select one that possesses enough flexibility to support its operation as it flourishes and grows. Then it is important to know different kinds of warehousing. Since there are several different warehouse storage systems are available in the market today, there are many storage options before being dispatched or sold. It is always a good idea to be aware of various storage and shelving options, which could become a good input for optimizing the store space. To better expose to the big world of warehouse storage systems, there are six most common types of warehousing based their shelving and structure. These are listed below. I. Static shelving. 2. Mobile shelving. 3. Pallet racking. 4. Multi-tier racking. V. Mezzanine flooring. 6. Wire partitions. I. Static shelving, as the name indicates, static shelves are storage mechanisms that are stationary and are designed to stay in one place. Usually, they are intended to hold inventory that is fairly lightweight, maybe up to a few hundred kg per shelf. This is commonly found in the warehouse storing inventory that needs continuous replenishment. Since they are not compatible with forklifts, static shelving is often used for the inventory that are manually picked and or placed. There may be in two categories of shelving as open racks or closed racks. For larger inventory, a wide-span shelving system has to be designed that can hold more weight and can be used in higher elevation configurations. We can find this type of static shelving in libraries. Open racks are often used for issuable books, while closed racks with transparent glass frames may be used for storing reference books. 2. Mobile shelving. Mobile shelving is similar to static shelving but with a difference of mobility. This is a completely adjustable shelving system that is meant to hold the manually picked items. With mobile shelving, shelves or cabinets are mounted on carriage and rail systems, eliminating fixed aisles and increasing productivity by making inventory more accessible, even when spacetized. Thus, the advantage here is that many of these systems are designed to hold more items in less space. Mobile shelving designs typically include level tracks that can either be manual or mechanized. Further, they may be equipped with locking systems to control access to inventory. This type of mobile shelving may be noticed in lodge-cum restaurants or big hotels, etc. 3. Pallet racking. For the busiest and largest warehouse, pallet racking systems are usually treated as the centerpiece of the operation. Typically, pallet racking systems are made out of wood, metal, or plastic and hold inventory that is received in large boxes. Depending on the height, the boxes are placed on the pallet racking system with the help of a forklift or an automated mechanism. There are a variety of subcategories of pallet racking systems as listed below. I. Carton floor racking. 2. Cantilever racking. 3. Call racking. 4. Pallet live racking. V. Double deep racking. 6. Drive-in racking. 7. Drive-through racking. 8. Push-back racking. 9. High bay racking. X. Mobile racking. 11. Narrow aisle racking. 12. Shuttle racking and 12. Vertical racking. Most often, warehouse will choose systems based on weight limits, flexibility, and whether or not the system demands a change in infrastructure. The types of pallet racking may found in shopping malls, supermarkets, and automobile industries. 4. Multi-tier racking. Multi-tier racking system is designed to capitalize on vertical space. Here, we have a great choice for large stocks of items that have small unit sizes. When no warehouse is one size fits all. Many multi-tier racking options are flexible, with the ability to add or remove tiers depending on the current needs. Mostly, multi-tier racking concerns relatively lightweight items that are picked and organized manually. To get the most out of this warehouse storage system, we need to organize each tier strategically and pack items as densely as possible. At the same time, paying attention is to be given to weight limits and ceiling to rack height compliance guidelines. These types of warehouse or stores are suitable for cloth stores, medical halls, hospital stores, etc. Mezzanine flooring, if the budget permits and the strategic warehouse layout allows for it, mezzanine flooring is an effective and space-saving storage option. Mostly mezzanine flooring is a second, maybe third and fourth also but rare, floor that is constructed above the main warehouse floor. Owing to the intrusive nature of the building, this could be one of the more expensive options that a warehouse can choose, but it also has the most potential for customized features such as lighting, lift systems, and conveyors. Workshops, godowns, households, and some shopping malls may use this type. 6. Wire partitions. While mezzanine flooring is one of the more high-tech options, wire partitions are on the other end of the spectrum. Wire partitions are, effectively, strategically placed wire cages that are meant to be installed and torn down quickly and easily. Often, the inventory that is housed within wire partitions are the items that may need special security. Some warehouses are even known to use wire partitions to construct makeshift, temporary offices for managers who work on the floor. 1.8 Warehouse Management System, WMS. One of the fundamental steps that must be taken in order to craft a warehouse that's functional and organized is to select the storage system or systems. Obviously, this is not a choice that can be taken lightly. Warehouse storage systems are a major capital investment that, depending on the design and the way they fit into warehouse floor plan and processes, can either help or hurt throughput. Thus, a good optimized design and execution of its storage. In and out flows of materials as well as hassle-free logistics are the essential operations which make the organization healthy. A software application. 1.8.1 A warehouse management system, WMS, is a software application designed to support and to optimize warehouse facilities, functions, and distribution center management. These systems facilitate management in functioning with simplified automation technologies applied in daily activities such as planning, organizing, staffing, directing, housekeeping, and controlling. It offers a great ease in the effective utilization of available resources to move and store materials inside, around, and outside of a warehouse. It helps the staff in performing of material movement and storage in and around a warehouse without causing any large-scale disruption to business resources and logistics. Warehouse management solutions are primarily tactical tools used by businesses to satisfy the customer demand requirements of their supply chains and distribution channels when the inventory and workload is larger than what can be handled manually with spreadsheets. Thus, depending on the size and sophistication of the organization, warehouse management can be as simple as handwritten lists or spreadsheets using software such as Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Access, or exclusive WMS software system. Summarily, warehouse management systems, WMS, may be in one of the following structures: an exclusive or a standalone system, or times a part of supply chain suites, or times a module of an enterprise resource planning (ERP) system. 1.8.2 Features in WMS. A WMS uses database-configured software to support warehouse operations, containing detailed descriptions of standard warehouse elements as listed below. Stock keeping units, SKUs, individual stock keeping units, SKUs, which are handled and stored. Example, weight, dimensions, case pack, automatic ID labels, barcodes, etc., and inventory by location with manufacturer, date, lot code, etc. SKUs may also include the details such as basic materials, fabricated parts, assemblies, and industrial and consumer finished goods, etc. Warehouse storage locations, storage conditions. Locations and handling instructions within the warehouse are specified. Example, individual location number, picking sequence, type of use, picking, reserve storage, etc. Type of storage, each, case, pallet, location size or capacity, storage restriction, flammable, hazardous, high-value materials, outdoor, etc., etc. Dock doors, it uses the docking identification such as individual number or a code, etc. Times expected labor productivity, the rates by function or activity, like cases picked per man-hour, etc. are described. 1.8.3 Managerial functions of WMS. The general managerial functions was planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling observed under the light of WMS would be as described below. Planning includes finalizing the daily plan for receiving dock activity, selecting the workload orders to be processed in the day or shift. This may also be done by the business system, and calculating an estimate of the labor and vehicles required to pick and ship the orders to ensure the staffing is appropriate, and to notify carriers regarding to load and depart to meet customer requirements. Organizing includes sequencing the orders to be picked. Organizing orders for picking can be accomplished in many ways for meeting the needs of the user. The primary objective is to be intentional and not to pick the orders in the sequence in which they were received unless the company wants to pay a carrier makes sense for transportation and delivery. The initial way of organizing was called wave planning or wave picking, with two objectives: A. To minimize need for dock staging space by having orders arrive at the shipping dock in trailer load sequence, and B. To create an order of flow that will support monitoring the progress through the day and reduce last-minute requests for overtime or delay of carrier departure, etc. Staffing includes assigned staff to work functions and areas by wave. To minimize staging, directing include ensuring the documented processes and procedures are embedded in the WMS and are consistently applied, used and appropriate for the nature of the work and service level intentions of the company. E.g. International Standards Organization 9000 www.iso.org. This function may also be used to divide individual orders into logical work units and the ability to assign them to separate individuals potentially for simultaneous performance, consistent throughput requirements, and physical layout. Example, separating individual case picking from each unit picking and individual pallet load picking to improve productivity and support control. Controlling, providing milestones for management to monitor progress through the day, providing the opportunity to respond to problems in a timely way and report data for performance analysis. 1.8.4 Integrated WMS, Warehouse Management System, WMS, enables warehouse staff in performing the required processes to handle all major and several minor warehouse tasks such as receiving, inspection and acceptance, put away, internal replenishment to picking positions, picking, packing, and value-added services, order assembly on the shipping dock, documentation, and shipping, loading onto carrier vehicles. WMS also assists in directing and validating each step, capturing and recording all material movement and status changes to the data file. A warehouse management system generally stands as a representation of the central unit in the software structure of a warehouse. The WMS receives orders from the host system, mostly an ERP system, organized by these in a database, and, after appropriate optimization, supplies them to the connected conveyor control systems. This becomes clear when, as we see in the processes necessary for e-commerce. Times when a customer places an order on a website, the information is passed to WMS via the business hot. All necessary steps for managing this order, pick the ordered items, and so forth are then processed within the WMS dot. Then, information is sent back to the business host computer to support financial transactions, advance shipping notifications to customer inventory management, etc. A modern WMS will connect to a variety of communication technologies, radio frequency, automatic ID technologies, barcode, RFID, etc., mobile computers, and occasionally automated material handling, conveyors and sorters, and storage equipment, carousels, automatic storage and retrieval, etc. IO Partitions 1.9 Summary. Warehouse is a place where the stock is housed. Simply, it is the house of materials, or it is analogous to the rented accommodation or a guest house for the material in their journey along the movement of its supply chain. Materials flow is like blood of any organization, especially for a production system. Warehouse may be considered as the heart of the organization for the smooth running of the production line. Warehouse management is commonly associated with 6 basic principles such as accuracy, cost control, efficiency, cleanliness, safety, and security. Key functions of warehousing are warehouse layout design, handling equipment storage systems, picking and order preparation, stock and inventory management, warehouse safety and security. Classification of warehousing is based on size and volume, on the person who operates it, and on materials stored. 6. Most common types of warehousing based their shelving and structures are static shelving, mobile shelving, pallet racking, multi-tier racking, mezzanine flooring, and wire partitions. A warehouse management system, WMS, is a software application designed to support and to optimize warehouse facilities, functions, and distribution center management. These systems facilitate management in functioning with simplified automation technologies applied in daily activities such as planning, organizing, staffing, directing, housekeeping, and controlling. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel for more updates, and we will see you with the next chapter.